The illegal sale of looted antiquities is just one source of funding for ISIL. There's also taxation and fines in territories it controls. Not to mention the major source of funding, which is oil. CCTV's Rochelle Akufo has that story.
The intricate network funneling money to support and conceal terrorists makes deciphering rumors from facts a difficult task. Anti-ISIL activist group Raqqa is being slaughtered silently, claims ISIL is able to sustain itself through a network within Syria. The group identifies several sources of funding, including energy sales from ISIL-controlled sites, taxes on residents, selling goods and running internet cafes. Money also comes from religious fines for breaking Sharia law, confiscating land and selling a range of products including oil, drugs, cigarettes and antiques on the black market. The U.S. Treasury estimates that ISIL earns around $1 million a day in revenue just from black market oil sales. Now, outside of Syria, U.S. intelligence officials say sources of other revenue like human trafficking, kidnapping ransoms and passport sales add an additional $2 million a day. For around a decade, wealthy donors in Gulf countries have been a consistent source of funding. Tuesday's U.S. congressional briefing on terror financing urged more accountability from governments in Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait.
Wealthy individuals from these countries fund terrorists all over the world, including Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab. They set up charities and funnel the money directly to the terrorists. The government of these Gulf countries simply do not do enough to stop the steady stream of terrorist financing.
Another lucrative strategy is robbing banks. With the ISIL raid of an Iraqi bank in 2014, the terror group's wealth is estimated to be in the billions. It's why many in the intelligence community consider ISIL the most well-resourced terror group in history. Rochelle Akufo, CCTV in Washington.
Let's dig into this a little bit more with Kamran Bokhari. He's a specialist on violent extremism at the University of Ottawa. He's also the author of Political Islam and the Age of Democratization. Now, we covered a lot of ground there. As you kind of dig deep into this, what are the things that jump out at you?
Two things. One is that we're not dealing with your run-of-the-mill terrorist organization. ISIS has become a state of some sort. In other words, it has institutionalization. It has a multi-divisional military force because of which it's able to control so many areas. Think of the logistics that goes into selling oil, taxation that you were talking about earlier, policing, providing services. And then, of course, if you're going to have the capability to mount terrorist attacks on a transcontinental basis, then you need also something equivalent of an intelligence service. Mm-hmm. So we really need to reimagine ISIS, and then we'll be able to understand, what makes it tick.
Is that part of the problem? We're stuck with this kind of like Al-Qaeda model, and we're looking at, as you mentioned, there's governance involved, taking care of roads, paying people, some of the stuff we just don't think about when we think of terrorists.
We do say that, Al-Qaeda was yesterday's news. ISIS is, 2.0, 3.0. But we really haven't walked away from the idea of a terrorist organization or an insurgent force. We really need to reconceptualize and say they're able to do all of this because of a certain capability that, states have. I think we need to imagine them in the light of the Afghan Taliban when they ruled Afghanistan.
Talk to me about some of the issues, though, that they face, because you can only rob so many banks, and that's over. Oil prices have gone down. What are some of the issues that you can see as roadblocks for them? Because financing is obviously key as they continue.
Of course, and they can only tax so many people before they incur revolt from those people that they're governing. The thing is that I think what we need to figure out is how to interdict their oil sales. And that's a complicated affair because it involves middlemen, smugglers, the route through Turkey. There are people who used to be small-time players until ISIS came around, and ISIS provided them with the opportunity to become much bigger players in the oil market, in the smuggling market. I mean, there are a lot of people who just can't flee Syria as well. And they are those who used to pump oil for the Assad regime when they controlled these fields. Now, if they can't flee and ISIS has come over, you have two choices. Either you fight and get killed, or you work for them, and they have people who are working for them.
We're out of time, but I do have to ask you about their payment of soldiers and that sort of thing. Do they pay better than other equipped soldiers in the region? I mean, is that one of the benefits that they have?
I think it's one of the benefits, but keep in mind that it's not just pay. It's the institutionalization of the entity. They run a far more well-oiled machine, if you will. And if you're one of those freelancers who's running from Al-Qaeda to this militia and that militia, and then you stumble upon IS, and you look at the benefits, it's kind of like, I don't want to work for this company anymore. I want to work for that because I get more benefits.
Kamran Bokhari, always a pleasure having you on the broadcast. Thanks for stopping by.